Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Wrap Up, your daily dose of pop culture and movie news, hosted by me, Mr. H Reviews. On today's show, two big topics. Fairly big, anyway, more interesting than anything else. The Matrix, the Wachowskis. Apparently they're coming back. Let's explore that. Also from Michael B. Jordan. Unbelievable. So look, we'll get into that. We also have confirmation, apparently, from Amy Pascal, that the Black Cat Spider-Man spin-off movie is still in the works. That's long been rumoured. And then after that, we'll just get on to some viewer questions. So if you want to skip right ahead to anything that I have just mentioned, you can see the timestamps down below in the description box and linked in a pinned comment. So, let's get into it. Oh, actually, just before we do that, hit subscribe. A lot of people watch this show that are not subscribed. Takes 2 seconds, helps me out, also helps you out because you can stay notified of it. So let's get into it, right? The Wachowskis. Okay, now, this is... there's been rumours about Matrix for a long time. Like a really, really long time there's been rumours about the Matrix. There was some rumours about a complete remake, a reboot. There were rumours about like prequels and sequels and all of this stuff. Now, this is courtesy of Discussing Film. So, whether you can, take this with a pinch of salt or not is entirely up to you. But let's get into it, okay? Let's read this article and dissect it to pieces. So last month, Chad Stahelski, if you don't know who that is, it's one of the men behind John Wick. He said to Yahoo Movies that the Wachowskis will be returning in some form for the new Matrix film. Now that's huge, because that's directors talking about directors and writers, and talking about writers coming back. Now, he reportedly told the outlet, "I'm super happy that the Wachowskis are not just doing a Matrix, but they're expanding what we all loved. And if it's anywhere near the level of what they've already done, it wouldn't take more than a call to go, hey, we want you to be a stunt guy." And I would probably go and get hit by a car. So that's really, really surprising. But then, However, Slash Film has since reported that the comment is inaccurate and was taken out of context, but nevertheless, we have heard a new Matrix film is happening at Warner Bros. with the Wachowskis set to return to direct. That doesn't make much sense. Okay, Slash Film turning around and stating, this is inaccurate, it's taken out of context, but hey, a Matrix film is still happening at Warner Bros. And the Wachowskis are still set to direct. How is this? I'm super happy that the Wachowskis are not just doing a Matrix, but they're expanding what we all loved. How is that any different to a Matrix film was still happening and they're coming back to direct? So there's a whole lot of nonsense with respect to this. Back and forth. People seemingly trying to debunk people, but also stating the same thing. Because that's no different. That is no different at all. What's taken out of context there? What is taken out of context? Nothing, as far as I can see. Now, it also states, as previously reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Zach Penn will write the screenplay, and Michael B. Jordan will star. I don't know where that came from. Michael B. Jordan, good actor. I think he is a good actor, actually. Zach Penn, fine, whatever. But with Michael B. Jordan and the Wachowskis, I think that could be fantastic. Now, like I said, this is courtesy of The Hollywood Reporter, fairly reputable source for a lot of information, and they stated that, that is happening. And then Discussing Film says, we have learned that the Wachowskis will return to direct the film and will begin production early 2020 in Chicago. Now, apparently they've been secretly prepping the film under the working title Project Ice Cream. Interesting. But for so many, outlets saying basically the same thing. The Wachowskis are back to direct. They are back with a Matrix film. Michael B. Jordan is starring. Zach Penn is on the screenplay. It's happening. Whether it is early 2020 or not, who knows? But it is happening. At the very least, by the sounds of it. With so many outlets reporting the same thing, that's what it seems like to me. But apparently, it says plot details are currently under wraps for the film. However, the project is already beginning to fill out its crew with Hugh Batup, who was an art director in 1990's The Matrix, set to return to the franchise as the production designer for this film. Now that is really good news. The Matrix was a superb film. Absolutely superb film. Out of this world, in fact. The Wachowskis outdid themselves. It was a coup de grace. It was a superb film. And part of that is obviously, you know, the ingredients of that cake. And one of them is the art director. So for Hugh Batiup, whatever, to return is really good news. Now, it says that Michael B. Jordan's Outlier Society Productions and Warner Bros. Will produce the film. It is currently unknown whether the film will still be a reboot or will be a sequel to the previous trilogy. Because that was what the or the previous reports were, whether it was going to be a remake, a reboot, a sequel. We didn't know. And apparently we still don't know. But apparently the GWW, I think that's Geeks Worldwide. I don't know. I'll have to check that. Has also reported that the film will shoot in Chicago under the name Project Ice Cream, with Lana Wachowski set to be one of the directors. So, again, multiple places reporting this. Multiple places. Now, what do you guys think, though? Okay, what do you think? Do you feel like The Matrix as a trilogy wrapped up nicely enough where they don't need to return? Or do you feel like this is a world which is ripe for the picking and they have left it so long that if we return to it now, it's a good time to come back to it? Because that's the thing, right? With such an interesting concept as The Matrix, it almost seems a waste just to leave it behind. We've had animes exploring it. There's been quite a lot, actually, opening it up. There's even some games. So, from my personal perspective on this, I think this is a good idea. I feel like a sequel would actually be the way to go. But unfortunately, I feel like in this day and age, because we are Reboot City, it's just going to be a reboot. I bet you anything it's going to be a soft reboot. And they're just, well, I mean, The Matrix, the irony of it is that a reboot actually goes hand in hand with what The Matrix is all about, right? We're just going to reboot The Matrix, guys. I honestly, I think this is probably going to be a reboot, and that's just because of the general trend in Hollywood at the moment, which is a shame, because I don't feel like they should do a reboot. But look, I hand it on over to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know whether you want it to be a reboot, a sequel, a prequel, an Elseworld story. What do you hope for this as a movie? And, like I say, do you even want it? Do you think that this is the right time for it? Do you think that, you know, enough time has passed? Or do you think that the original trilogy wrapped itself up in a nice, neat little bow? Please do let me know down below in the comment section. Now, let's move on. Sony still has plans for a Black Cat movie. So there's been an awful lot of snippets from the Amy Pascal interview with respect to, you know, Far From Home and things like that. But Sony producer Amy Pascal reveals that a Black Cat spin-off film is still in development. Now, Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, was first introduced, blah, blah, blah. No one cares about this stuff. Okay, now, a movie featuring Black Cat and Silver Sable was originally going to happen. I can't remember what that... There was a nickname for that film. Silver and Black, I think it was. Something stupid like that. That was thought to be in development since 2017, but then that went dead. In fact, that was middle to late last year. That was pretty much dead in the water. But apparently now this is still happening. So Sony is just seemingly never ending with this Spider-Man spin-off hopeful universe that they're trying to get going. Now, in terms of the actual interview itself, the interview with Amy Pascal, she was able to shed a light on the possibilities of a Black Cat movie. When asked her what Spider-Man villain she thinks deserves time on the big screen, Pascal responded, "That's a good question. I like Black Cat a lot. I think she is a really great character. We had her a little bit in the Amazing Spider-Man movie, but no, you didn't. God, no, you didn't. But she's kind of that character that we didn't really turn into the Black Cat yet. So you didn't then, did you?" I think that's a really great character. We're still working on that. I think we have plans for that. Now, look, all the cosplayers are going to go absolutely wild for this. People will love Black Cat, clearly. Obviously, people will love it. I think this is one of those ideas that is riding the Hollywood wave at present. Will this happen? Yeah, it probably will, just because we are riding that wave of female-centric superheroes. It's happening. We're in it. I'm not, touting whether it's good or bad. We're just in it. So as a result of that, will this happen? Yeah, absolutely it will. I'd be really surprised if it doesn't, because Sony's all about capitalizing on things. They are a business. They will no doubt want to capitalize on that. And if they don't, then I'll be really surprised. But I'll hand it on over to you. Is this a character you want to see? Do you give a shit? Let me know down below in the comments. Now, here on this daily show, we have time for some viewer questions. Because it's not just me talking crap. I ask for your opinion down below in the comment section. But I also want to get your questions. And I want to get the feedback from you. We have this open discussion, this discourse. So if you want me to answer your question and read it out here on this daily show, then email it to me, misstatedsreviews@gmail.com, using the subject line, the wrap up. That part's really important, because if I don't have it, I can't find the emails, because that's how I search for them. So anyway, we've got some questions today, so let's dip in the mailbag and see what we've got. Right, first question comes to us from N. Robert, and he says, "Good evening, sir. I wanted to ask you a bit more on your thoughts about Batwoman's future." Oh dear, let's go. "Not so much about the shitty marketing, but about prospects and potential." Interesting. This I ask from the perspective of a die-hard fan of the CW's Arrowverse. After the Elseworlds crossover last year, I was actually very excited about the prospect of the series. The trailers have, shall we say, somewhat diminished the hype for me. Now this is really interesting, because I had actually asked for direct feedback from people that actually were a fan of it. So this, I love this question. This is what I want. I think all too often we sit in our echo chambers and we tout ourselves and beat ourselves off to our own opinions. I love to find out other people's points of view. Personally, I think Batwoman looks like crap, but I will read this email with an open mind, because I want to know. Now, he says, "Do you think they will listen to the feedback and course correct the writing on the series, similar to the tonal shift of Legends of Tomorrow? And if it all goes down the toilet, the way it seems like it will do you think it will have a ripple effect on the other show's ratings?" Okay. In the States, they film the whole series, generally speaking. So they filmed it. It's done. I think the series is done. I don't think they're filming anymore. I'm fairly certain they have shot it and it's done. Because generally speaking, in the States, what they do is they will shoot it all and then they will release it. In the UK, series work somewhat differently, where they do actually shoot them sometimes week on week, or 2 at a time, and then kind of release them like that. I could be wrong about this show, but that's the general rule of thumb for shows in the States. So I think they've already shot it. And yeah, I think that's why they're just doubling down on it all, because they've shot it. They've just got to do it. I don't think they can course correct. But will it have a ripple effect on the other show's ratings? Probably not. Just because people are not stupid. They can differentiate between the two. I think that is fine. I don't think that they will have a ripple effect. But I think people may notice more things in the other shows which they didn't notice before, that were there, that now they dislike. So he says, "One Batwoman episode will be in Crisis on Infinite Earth, so that one will probably get some viewers at least, probably." He states, "As a gay man, I worry that them writing to appeal to the..." Now this I love. This I really, really love. So he says, "As a gay man, I worry that them writing to appeal to a niche social media subculture is not only going to damage a brand I like, but in worst case scenarios have a negative impact on the future TV series with LGBT lead characters." I agree. I'm a straight dude, but even I can see that. I think most people can see that, and I think unfortunately in the agenda pushing world that we are in this day and age, this will have a negative impact on it, undoubtedly. you know, you keep forcing these opinions on people. You force these agendas on people. People get sick of it, you know. If you just have it as a blasé thing, then it's fine. But when the Batwoman trailer released and it had a song saying, you know, I'm a woman, and it's just a woman with a love interest of a woman, with a villain that's a woman, with the surrounding characters being women, all the evil dudes essentially being guys that are around her. Like, the second teaser had her giving a Rolex to a supermodel, tramp, homeless woman. It's like, for God's sake, you don't need to telegraph it that much. We get it. She's a woman. We get it. We don't care. So I think inevitably, yeah, that will probably have an impact. And I agree with you, and I'm glad, you know, that I could get your opinion on this. It's interesting to hear that someone that was actually looking forward to it has seen the marketing material and gone, hey, whoa, this is not my cup of tea now. I like that. I really do like to get these opinions. Now, okay, second question of the day comes to us from Daniel. And he says, I was curious to your thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong, and if you genuinely think we're going to be Cloverfield in this movie. Cloverfielded in this movie. Okay, let me expand on this. King of the Monsters had a lot more monsters in it compared to Godzilla 2014. However, in a lot of the fights, there were a lot of cutaway moments from the action. For example, with Rodan fighting Ghidorah, right after the line, they're killing each other. There is a big gap for the humans to get the plane in the Argo. Then it cuts back to Ghidorah with Rodan in his grasp, shooting his gravity beams at him. So we missed that fight to see a crash landing instead. I agree. Then Godzilla and Ghidorah fighting, showing the radar a lot compared to the fight. Whereas just showing the radar once or twice with the countdown being said as they fought to at least see the fight. Yeah, I agree. Now, what he says is my biggest concern for the Cloverfield. Show monsters for a second, then turn the focus away for a bit, then back for a second on the monster, then back to the humans. Yeah, okay. Well, so I guess the main take home from this really is, do you think we'll get that again? No, I don't think so. They were better than 2014's Godzilla, but they unfortunately didn't do as much as what they did in Kong Skull Island. However, if you're going to blend the two seamlessly, they're going to have to show more, because they showed a lot more in Kong Skull Island. So I think that's kind of, you know, I think that's kind of an answer to your question. I don't think that they will. I think that they will expand upon it a little bit more, really show it a little bit more, because you have to get the aesthetic of Kong Skull Island in there. They got the aesthetic of Godzilla 2014 built off of it a little bit more, and now I think they're going to try to blend the two and just go that step further. So hopefully that answers your question, Daniel. Great question. I thank you for asking it. And like I said at the start of this, if everyone, you know, you've got a question, you want me to answer it, and you want to have an interaction, you want to see other people's responses to it, because now I'm going to ask for your opinions. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Then you can email me your questions to mrhreviews@gmail.com. Use the subject line, the wrap up. Anyway, guys, that wraps it up here for me on your daily dose of pop culture and movie news. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support this show, please do consider becoming a Patreon. The link is down below in the description box. Mondays are Soma playthroughs. So if you want to watch me lose my shit to Soma, then you can become a patron and have exclusive access to that, and also a whole host of other benefits, which you can see all the tiers for all of that. Anyway, I've talked shit for too long. Peace out. Take care.